Howdy folks, I'm Chill Casablanca Lily, connivingly choosing celebratory cupcakes.
I'm Amber.
And here are more celebratory cupcakes for us to choose very strategically and connivingly. Maybe we're choosing the unpoisoned cupcakes.
I thought you were just like eating all the cupcakes like you promised the other flowers. You're going to bring the cupcakes to the party and then you just ate them all. But I mean, maybe you're a little more conniving than I realized.
We're very conniving. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Throwing Away My Husband's Father's Day gift after what he did on Mother's Day? My husband and I have 2 kids, a 6-year-old boy and an 8-month girl. He told me for 2 weeks leading up to Mother's Day that he had an entire weekend planned for me. This is not normal, but there have been years in the past where I did complain and I felt hurt because he didn't really do much for me on Mother's Day. But I always went all out for him on Father's Day and I just felt unappreciated. So I was thinking that finally he understood where I was coming from and was going to make it special for me this year. I quite literally only asked for a massage, and he repeatedly said that he couldn't just give me a massage because it wasn't enough. So I don't know. At this point, I'm truly thinking that this man has gone all out. Anyways, Friday rolls around and a bunch of people start showing up. He invited a good 10 to 15 people over. I think that I knew about 2, and he calls it the Mother's Day bonfire. We had a fire all right, but I was the one who had to chase the kids around all evening, my 6-year-old, while holding the baby, and some other person's 2 kids because they weren't watching them. And quite literally, no one spoke to me. I wasn't even acknowledged until the very end of the evening. And that was by my husband's buddy, who told me that he was stealing my husband to go 4-wheeling. It was like 11 p.m. at this point, and everyone except me was drinking. I said that my husband wasn't going anywhere. I even said this to my husband. You're drinking, you're not going to go anywhere. He took that as I need to go find a DD, and then I can go. So he asked the neighbor to drive him around, and he took off with everyone. I'm extremely hurt at this point because this was my promised weekend, and I got stuck with other people's kids and wasn't spoken to at all. Had a mess to clean up, and now my husband is taking off. I explained how hurt I was the next morning, and he said that he gets it and apologized and says that he just had too much to drink and wasn't really thinking clearly. Okay, I get it, whatever. We didn't do anything Saturday because he spent half the day sleeping off the hangover. Well, yesterday rolls around and his boss calls him at 6 a.m. and asks him to come over into work because they are short-staffed, and he said yes. So I expressed that I was hurt, and I said, but it's Mother's Day, and he says, I know. I'm sorry. I just don't want to pass up the opportunity for more hours, which I get that too. So whatever. He gets home around 5 p.m. and starts getting the kids dressed and ushered towards the door, so I think that we're finally going to go celebrate. We ended up going on a walk, which I love walking, but 5 minutes in and he's complaining that he has to turn around because of the black flies. They weren't even that bad, so again I'm disappointed. When we get back home, he lays down on the couch and says, oh yeah, your gift is in the truck. So I go down and it's a $5 storage container for sugar and flour. I do like stuff like that, but I'm so hurt at this point. I asked him if I could at least get a massage, and he says, I'm sorry babe, I'm just so tired, and falls asleep around 8 p.m. when he usually doesn't even go to bed until midnight or 1 a.m. So I just sat there crying. I took the 3 gifts that I had already bought him for Father's Day and I chucked them into the trash can. Personalized items that cost me more than I care to admit, but I don't even care anymore. He found them in the garbage the next morning and asked me what they were doing there and why they were covered in trash and food, and I told him that they were his Father's Day gifts, and then I left it at that. He is now saying that he tried to make my weekend special, and that he is hurt by me throwing away his gifts to retaliate against him for not turning out the way that he wanted it to. Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. He did not try to make your weekend special. He did not think about OP once during this entire time. A Mother's Day bonfire where mom is wrangling 4 kids and nobody's talking to her.
Yeah.
The one thing OP wanted was a massage. And the entire weekend, he could not find the time or energy to give her a massage.
Yeah.
This just reeks of OP is an afterthought in my life, and I'm gonna talk like I'm doing this big thing for her, but really it's still all about me.
Yeah, I do want to point out that this is an older letter because, of course, Mother's Day was last weekend and not this last Sunday. So I think that OP has every right to be upset and disappointed here. They asked for one thing, one thing only, and their husband couldn't even do that. And the thing is, like, you don't get to label a bonfire as a Mother's Day bonfire, like, and then expect that's going to be what makes somebody happy, right? Like, oh yeah, cool, I got a bonfire in honor of me, but I had to do all the work.
Well, and OP didn't even like know the people. Like, he didn't go out of his way to invite her friends or family. It was mostly strangers and like his people who are strangers to OP.
Yeah.
Or like she vaguely knows. Like, none of this says I thought about OP. It's I thought about what I would want to do this weekend, and I'm just gonna slap OP's name on there.
Yeah, I co-opted your Mother's Day to do what I wanted to do. So I feel like OP maybe should start reconsidering how they are prioritized in this relationship and whether or not this relationship is something that they want to continue to feel unappreciated in.
Right, and certainly if that's the level of effort he puts into you, like, he deserves the same thing back. Like, he doesn't deserve nice custom gifts if he's giving you a $5 sugar and flour container.
Yeah, and the audacity, right? The audacity that his gift was the $5 container, right? He's like, oh, I have this huge thing planned for you. And then he gets you a $5 item, like, which is just absurd here. And, like, I think that this wasn't, I mean, again, like, that was kind of related to chores. And you should really not give people chore tangential gifts unless it's something that they've explicitly asked for. Because otherwise it just feels like you're being like, here's something, I know that you cook. This is a thing that you do. It must be something you want. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Lishiko says, holy cow, I would be mad. Edit, now I am mad. Leaving other people's kids with you. Why did they all bring their kids? Where were the other parents? Why did he invite people you didn't even know? And then you had to clean it all up? If he knows that he can't think clearly, why did he drink? It's not whatever. This is full BS. Full on BS. So he works 11 hours, and then you go and on a walk for 5 minutes before he starts complaining, and he doesn't even go get your gifts. He makes you get it, and no massage, and then he falls asleep at 8, meaning that you're probably the one putting the kids to bed on Mother's Day. What in the world? He's hurt? He's hurt? And OP replies, the sad part is the woman who showed up with the kids wasn't even someone my husband knew either. She showed up with my husband's coworker, whom I do know a bit, but like, her kids are 4 or 5, and we live right beside a river. The woman was drinking, and she kept telling me that, oh, they'll be fine. Like, ma'am, there's a raging river behind us. You're drunk and it's dark. No, the kids are not fine. She had her mother come and grab the kids around 10 p.m. And Friends of Fripp says, do you have someplace safe to go with your children? I would start laying down some hard boundaries with your husband. Are you open to marriage counseling? Would your husband participate with an open mind? How much longer are you going to tolerate this mistreatment? Would you be willing to leave if the status quo continues? And OP replies, I would be open to counseling, and I have suggested it. He says that he wants to try it out as well, but he works 6 days a week, typically, so finding time has been difficult. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, My Husband Got a Vasectomy and Didn't Tell Me. Throwaway account because my husband knows my main. I don't know what to do. I'm a 31-year-old female and my husband is a 32-year-old male. Fake names, Chris, and I have been married for 4 years, together for 6. We first got together, we had several long talks about how we both wanted a big family. I wanted to be very upfront that child-free is not an option, and I said that I wanted to have at least 4 kids. I'm an only child, and I know how lonely it is. I also said that I wanted to have them about a year and a year and a half apart, so they could all grow up close. He always said wholeheartedly that he agrees with this, and often made jokes, whether we have 4 or 6, have as many as we want. It's your call, since you're pretty much doing all the work. And on our wedding day, before we left the reception for our honeymoon, he whispered, can we get out of here so we can start our baby number 1? I love how excited he seemed. To be clear, I didn't go off my birth control until about 2 months after we were married. and I got pregnant soon after with our first daughter, Joy. Joy was a happy pregnancy, long birth, but she was a beautiful, healthy baby. She went through colic, which was trying, but other than that, she was a happy first addition, according to me. I noticed that Chris had become distant during my pregnancy. But when I asked him about it, he just said that he had a lot on his mind as a new father. He said that he was still excited, but something changed. For reference, we both work full-time. I make about $20,000 more than him per year, and the 5-bedroom house that we live in was a gift from my mom, who was very excited to be a grandma to many. My job is fully remote, but still offers maternity leave, and I have a nest egg savings for emergencies. And I feel that it's important to mention this because I know finances can be a major stress factor when it comes to having kids, but not for me and Chris. Then Joy came out perfectly. Chris had 3 months of paternity leave and was home with us for a majority of that time. My mom visited a lot and paid to have the cleaners come. There were still a lot of long nights, and it was tough for me to breastfeed, but overall, nothing unexpected. Chris still seemed distant, but was always helping with Joy. We have agreed upon an open phone policy, so I did check his phone quite a bit often, but I didn't see any signs of cheating. He goes through my phone whenever he wants to as well. I asked if he found me unattractive while pregnant, and he assured me no, he loves me and he's excited for our family. Well, fast forward a year after, we're sleeping through the night, and I'm back at work. I saw my doctor and was cleared to try for bundle of joy number 2, and Chris seemed very enthusiastic at this point. He even downloaded an app to track my fertility cycles so that we could make the most of my ovulation times. We had a lot of fun, and he was always very passionate, but 6 months of trying with no pregnancy and I started to worry. I'd voiced my concerns to Chris, but he brushed them off, so I tried to be patient. But then almost 2 years passed and Joy is growing up by herself. I broke down to my mother crying and she agreed to come with me to go to the doctor to get checked out. I was very emotional and scared, but the doctor assured me that everything is fine and that I should be able to conceive without any issue. I went to Chris with knowing this and he was very upset that I went to a fertility specialist. I explained that I thought that something must be going wrong during my last pregnancy, concerned that maybe I was blocked or infertile somehow. He said, why not wait and just let nature take its course? And I said, our little girl is almost 3 and growing up by herself. I reminded him of our plans and he just nodded and said, all we can do is try. I asked him if he would see a fertility specialist, and he got angry, saying that there was nothing wrong with him and that we don't have the money for fertility treatments anyways. This confused me. Since we do have the money, we have my savings and we were doing pretty well. When he went to sleep, I decided to go through his phone again and went back through his calendar and his call logs. I noticed about 8 months after Joy was born, there was a block day indicating that he had taken a day off from work, but it was in the middle of the week and I don't remember any sort of special occasion behind that and why he would take this random day off. I went through the call logs and I found an office number about a week before and I googled the number and it was a local business where you could get a vasectomy. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I instantly felt cold all over and then I started to panic. I woke him up and I confronted him. He just stared at me while I went off on him and admitted that the babies were harder than he thought they would be, and he felt like my first pregnancy took forever. I couldn't believe it. I packed my things, Joy, and her things, and I drove to my mom's house. She is in distress with my sudden appearance and my inability to stop crying. I finally told her yesterday morning what happened, and she is just beside herself. I don't know what to do, but every time I think about how during our adult intimate time, he would just talk to me about giving me a baby, and he had a vasectomy the entire time. I feel so disgusted and stupid. I can't believe my little girl is going to grow up alone. Chris has been blowing up my phone, but I just keep letting it ring and haven't read any of his texts. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I feel so bad for OP. It's not a good situation. Like, it's totally understandable. Sometimes people change their mind about having kids after they have one and realize, I don't want more. But that needs to be communicated expressly with your partner and not, like, done secretly behind their back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that there isn't anything wrong with changing your mind about the number of children you want. But if there are differences in expectations about that, then maybe that's a deal breaker and you have to choose to end the relationship, right? Mm-hmm. This was not fair to do to her because it made her worry, it made her panic, and it filled her with a lot of anxiety, right?
Right. Well, pretending like, here, we're doing this thing, and then OP got pregnant so easily the first time around, and then is having so much trouble. Like, that's a lot of stress and anxiety to put on someone. And granted, just the way biology works and, the randomness, that can happen normally anyway. But, I can understand why she'd want to go to a fertility specialist. And so here she is going to unnecessary doctor's appointments, trying to figure out what's going on. And he's just sitting on this information.
Yeah. It was really unfair thing to do. This isn't a partnership at this point in time. This is him making unilateral decisions for them, being too much of a coward to actually go ahead and have a difficult conversation with his wife. I can, again, understand not wanting to have multiple children, but she had laid out the expectation that they were going to have 4 children, and he agreed to this, right? This isn't something that he went into not knowing or anything like that.
And he continued to pretend like he was on board, too. He never communicated to her that he was having difficulty with this, that this was no longer what he wanted.
Yeah. And I think this shows a overall lack of character on his part, right? How can OP trust him in anything at this point in time? He has shown that he can just lie through his teeth and not even care about what it does to his partner here.
Yeah.
So I think that OP, this is pretty much the end of the relationship. I don't know how OP can go back to being trusting him at this point in time. Maybe if he reverses, even if he reversed his vasectomy, right, at this point in time.
Yeah, the relationship's just broken.
Yeah.
And so I do feel really, really bad for OP because this is a really unfair situation to be put in. Well, his whole thing about, your pregnancy took forever. Like, first of all, we know how long pregnancies take. Like,
9 months.
It's not like this is some mysterious thing that he just found out for the first time around. But secondly, he's also not the one who had to carry the baby. Like, I'm sure that he had to pick up some slack around the house, help her out a little bit more. But, like, again, he's not the one doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and again, I feel like he should have sat down with her and been like, this having kids thing is a lot harder than I thought. I'm having a lot of apprehension about having more kids.
Right, and they could have gone to marriage counseling to try and reach, some sort of acceptance state, or to find an amicable way to split.
Yeah.
But no, instead he's like, I'm just gonna pretend like everything's fine.
Yeah. Terrible, disgusting thing to do to somebody. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. A can this AITA no 9122 says, your little girl won't have to grow up alone. She can have half siblings, And OP replies, thank you for this. Yes, you don't have to have children with the same man. Like,
well,
I know.
Certainly. And I mean, everyone's experience is different. Like, people who grow up as only children, some people have a great time, some people struggle. People who grow up with siblings, some have a great time, some struggle. So, like, having siblings does not guarantee she'll have a better childhood. And, like, so don't feel bad like you're depriving her of something significant, even if you don't immediately find a partner to have kids with.
Yeah, and I mean, there are also the chance that they could have had fertility issues and that this would have been a single child anyways, right? My username is Meh says, he has every right to not want more kids and you have every right to want more. What he did not have the right to do was fool you for years. Men who have had vasectomies but hide it and try for a baby are beyond disgusting. Their wives think that something is wrong with them. They go to specialists and spend a lot of time and money on fertility treatments. He is spineless, pardon my words, but it's true. He pushed you into having a breakdown over this. He has every right to get a vasectomy, and he didn't need your permission, but he had no right to hide it and pretend like you two were trying to have another child.
Yeah, well, that pretty much exactly.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the convict examine his computer?
Oh my goodness, Jovial Bobstein, no, what in the world? I said that this could be a series the other day, and apparently
there's an entire section of them.
Oh no, are you kidding me?
No, there's like 3 pages of them.
Oh no.
We're not doing all of them, but there are 3 pages of them.
Jovial Bobstein, why would you do this? We have to read all of them. We have to. It's a part of the natural law of order. Why did the what?
Why did the convict examine his computer?
The convict examined his computer because he got it illegally in jail and was going to use it and the internet to basically run an illegal operation inside the jail.
He was looking for an escape key.
I guess that works too. I guess that works. That's actually not too bad. That honestly wasn't bad. And I have Megamit. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your week is off to a good start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a short poem.
Roses are red, violets are blue. You can make your own reproductive decisions, but communicate them with your partner too.
I think that actually works really well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!
Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lilies. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lilies. Connivingly. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Conniving. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lilies. Connivingly choosing celebratory cupcakes. Celebratory.
Yeah, celebratory.
Celebratory. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lilies, connivingly choosing celebratory. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lily, connivingly choosing celebratory. Howdy, folks. I'm Chill Casablanca Lilies, connivingly choosing celebratory. I can't even say the word normally. Celebratory.